generating leads. Made sure I checked on locally anyway, title company, closing attorneys that I deal with here locally, and everybody responded that, you know, everything is still in motion. So it really nothing has changed. I have some stuff pending. Had to close the deal in this quote unquote environment in the last week or so, but I was just making sure with them that everything is fine. And you know, you have some buyers that have pulled back a little bit, but you've had some new entries into the market because of how bad the stock market has suffered in the last you know, month or so. So it's as right now it's still the same, I guess you would say. Just it's a little different, like it's different, but it's not like just. It's probably, I'll just say it's probably 90% of what it was. So that's good, you know. So, and the 10% uncertain to this point is just because you're just going to always have some people just, hey, I'm pulling back, whether it's a seller or a buyer. But the way I look at it, it's an opportunity to stack up deals, because now you have a built-in excuse, which is legitimate, obviously, that, you know, deals may take a little longer to close, you know, for a number of reasons. So still opportunity out there, you know, unless they make shelter or free, it's going to be opportunity real estate. You just have to adjust with the market.
100%. When you're buying every day, are you getting better pricing now, or has the pricing changed on what you're picking up?
It hasn't been long enough for me to even really tell that difference at this point.
Okay.
It hadn't been long. I can't honestly say I've seen a difference. Now, people have been easier to reach through the methods that, you know, we mainly use or whatever. So that has changed, but that's going to always be a good thing. Being able to contact more owners of real estate or just property in general. So.
Excellent. And so backing up, FlipMan, how did you get into real estate? Have you been in real estate a long time, or I don't fully know that you know, we've talked about that before.
Okay. Well, number one, I'm an entrepreneur first. At least I like to think that I am. And so all through college, well, most of it, I had these great entrepreneurial ideas on how to make money, obviously, and nothing really ever made any money. Nothing but a few $100s, so that's no money. All right, so fast forward to 2002, and a friend of mine and his now wife were going to school to become real estate agents, and the guy that normally taught the class wasn't there, and the guy that substituted for him, he didn't talk about being a real estate agent. He talked about investing in real estate and creative ways of investing in real estate with no money. So my friend, knowing how I think or whatever, he mentioned it to me. That was in like October of 2002, and I didn't act on it at that time. I was like, wow, that's interesting. So fast forward to a couple of days after Christmas, I can tell you, December 27th, I was at my mom's house for Christmas, and she was up preparing breakfast, and I was just watching TV, and I saw one of halfway through one of Carlton's sheets, No Money Down infomercial, which he just recently passed. Yes. And so, you know, the commercials never really told you anything, but hey, Carlton helped me make this much money. He may help me make this much money. Yeah, that's good, but how did you make the money? And so I went up to dial after that, you know, showed on and watched it from beginning to end. I hadn't seen it over the years, you know. So at the end of that, I thought to myself, you know, he can't be lying about all of this, right? So back then, my mom didn't have internet at her house. So when I got back to Birmingham, I went to this entrepreneurial message board that I used to frequent and asked the question, does Carlton Sheets program really work? And only one person replied. He said, yes, it does. But Ron LeGrand's course is better,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And so I Googled, I think Google was around then, Ron's name, and I found his, what was it called? I forget what the actual package was called, but it was $1,500, and it included wholesale and lease options, subject to owner financing, retail and buy, fix, and flip. So it included just everything basically, as far as creative ways of making money out there, along with fix and flip. And so I went from not knowing any. Well, I'm missing out some of the stories. So $1,500 was a lot of money, still a lot of money, but definitely was a lot of money back then for me. And so I thought to myself, I had to save. Well, no, I'm sorry. They had a condensed version of the course for $69, but $80 was shipping. It was in cassette tape form. So I ordered that, and the only thing it was enough to get you really hyped to say, hey, I want that $1,500 course. It was a teaser, because Ron is really good at explaining stuff. He'll make you run through a brick wall.
Oh, yeah.
And so I said to myself, I had to get a second job. I'm going to save up that money for that additional course. For that course. So I thought about eBay a couple of days later. So I did a search on his name, and wow, there were some auctions on that exact course, right? And so I bid on it and lost the auction. And the guy back then, sellers could reach out to buyers through email after an auction was over, which eBay, I'm sure, cut that out years ago. And so he asked me did I wanted a basically a bootleg copy of it, a burnt CD copy of everything. So we agreed on $400, right? And even then, that was a struggle for me to pay. Something didn't get paid, I'm sure, or whatever. But that $400, I don't know if I can ever invest that small of an amount of money outside of putting a property on the contract with no money down, basically getting a return. But what that $400 return for me is for the knowledge and to send me in the direction of real estate I cannot put a price on. And so I got the course, and like I said, I went from zero, not knowing anything about real estate, to learning all of these different methods. And so that was like in January of 2003. And so I put out three things that stuck for me was wholesaling houses or real estate and lease options. But on top of that, a way to generate leads is through bandit signs, because I'm an introvert at nature. And so being that I hadn't tried so many other businesses, because a lot of times when you go into business, a lot of times it's a sales job at the same time, because you're trying to convince someone to buy your product or service from you. And, I knew I wasn't that good at that. But if I could just put out a message using a bandit sign and people call me, that really intrigued me, because I had seen the signs, but if you don't know anything about the business, you're like, what are those signs? I guess they're buying houses, but you just think it's just as simple as that or whatever. So a brand new sign shop had to open in this Walmart that just opened here in Birmingham in the Hoover area, those that know what I'm talking about. And I didn't know what signs cost, so I spent $250 on 50 signs. All right, I picked them up on a Friday evening, and I started putting them out on a Sunday morning. And the very first two calls I got, one of them was a wholesale opportunity, and the other one was a lease option opportunity. The lease option opportunity, in a nutshell, it blew up in my face. The lady had given me $5,000. Well, let me back up. The owner of the property inherited the property from his mom. It was vacant, and he couldn't afford his mortgage and that mortgage also. So I explained how lease option, lease purchase worked, and he was okay with it, or appeared to be okay with it. And so, long story short, once he found out that I got $5,000 from a potential tenant buyer, he thought he should have at least half of that, or if not all of it. So long story short, he and I got into a big argument. I ended up giving the one lady his money back. So that I could have quit then, like, this stuff doesn't work. But fortunately, I have to think about what I would have done if I didn't have this wholesale deal pending. I had a wholesale deal with two sisters. They inherited a house from their mom had passed. They tried a few years to rent out the property. You know how that goes, to family members and so on. They just were tired landlords. And so they called me and we negotiated a deal. And at that time, I really still didn't understand ARVs or nothing. I just thought it was cheap enough. So long story short, I put it on the contract, found a buyer for it through a real estate agent. I advertised in the newspaper, and we closed on it. I made my first $2,500, which is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money in the scheme of things as far as real estate. But for me, someone that had failed at so many businesses before, that $2,500 might as well have been $250,000. You know what I'm saying? Because number one, I needed the money. Number two, it showed me that, oh, this stuff really works. So to answer your question, that's how I got started.
Oh, that's an awesome story. Everyone back in the day remembers Carlton Sheets. I bought his program. A number of our guests had bought his program, but he was really in the media all the time. Ron LaGrange, awesome teacher also. So that's fabulous. So whatever it takes to get into the game is what I wanted to do. Like I know learning from the masters, the guys that are selling the programs, whether it's, you know, $500, $1,200, I wanted to buy that because I didn't have any other choice. I didn't want to stay in corporate America working for someone. So I knew I wanted an entrepreneur freedom. And that's the only thing I knew was hey, real estate can really make this happen. But until you get your first check, you know, you made yours for $2,500. That's when you know this is real. We could do this for a career and do really well at it. So from that 2003, you got your first check, you got the 2,500. Were you full time at that time, AskFlipMan, or?
Oh no. I was working for Bell South back then, which is now a part of AT&T. They purchased them a few years back. They're one of the regional Bells, as they call them. And what I did for that company, I was a customer service rep and collections. So when people called in and wanted to make arrangements on their bill or questions about their actual bill, they would speak to someone like myself. So so that was in 2000. So from 2003, when I did my first deal, March of 2003, I had, started doing deals on a regular basis. I was easily doing 3 and 4 times what I was making on my job, each month. And so the reason I didn't probably quit immediately is because, just a little backstory, back in 2001, I had quit the same job, and it was paying about $45,000 or so a year, which, for a single guy in Birmingham, Alabama, that's a decent, salary or whatever. And so at the time anyway, so I liked my job. I just know I just wanted more. And so, but I quit the job to go work at a cemetery in pre-arrangements. And if those of you all don't know what pre-arrangements mean, it simply means is that you prepare all of your stuff before you die, to try to save that anguish on your family, and they don't have to make those decisions on what type of casket I want, where do I want to be buried, all of that stuff. So we would go see people and, try to convince them to go ahead and pay for this. And plus you'll lock in it at today's prices versus 20 years from now, and it may be quadruple what the prices are. And they get you in such a stressful, vulnerable position, funeral home directors and whatever, that, you just pay whatever. And then a lot of times people overpay just from emotions, and they want daddy to have the best and all this stuff. So that's what we sold. But I wasn't very good at it. And how I got out there is that a friend of mine, I just got off the phone with him a little while ago, I want to go walking. I told him it's going to rain today. But he could sell dirt to an ant, right? But I didn't know him like that. I just knew him as, one of my college buddies just was a loudmouth, right?
Right.
And so he made 100. The first year he was out there, he made 6 figures, a little over 100 grand. Second year he did the same thing. So he's like, and he had just seemed to have a lot of freedom because he was in, straight sales. And so he was like, Ty, man, even if you just did half of what I do, you're still going to be able to match your salary and you'll still have freedom to do this, blah, blah, blah. So he finally convinced me to quit. And so I quit from February of 2001 until the end of July, which was my birthday. I made a grand total of $7,000.
Oh my!
Now, that's not a lot of money, but it's definitely not a lot of money when you don't know you're going to get it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was straight sales commission. So 1 week you'll get money, 3 weeks you may not. You know what I'm saying? So if it wasn't for him and the girl I was dating at the time, I would have starved to death, I guess, or whatever. So, but anyway, so that's part of the reason why I had to get that backstory, because that's why I went from 2003 up until 2006 before I quit again, right? Because it took me a while to get that job back again, because when 9/11 happened, I was unemployed, laying in my bed feeling sorry for myself or whatever. And I was watching the news when that happened. And, you seen the first plane go into the building, okay, wow, that's an accident. But when you actually seen the second one go in live, oh, that's not an accident. And I thought to myself, oh, you don't have any real problems. You know what I'm saying? You get your butt up out this bed and go, make it happen or whatever. So, but going back, so I was on my job from 2003, from when I started wholesaling March of 2003 up until when I quit on May 1st, 2006 or whatever. So I could have quit definitely within the first year. And so one day I just came in, and it was a high pressure job, because number one, had to be on time, as you should with any job, but they really meant you had to be on time, and you had quotas you had to meet or whatever. When you're talking to individuals about making arrangements on their bill, you're trying to sell them more stuff. They already can't afford it. You're trying to sell them more stuff or whatever. So I wasn't doing that well with that. So one day I came in after on a split shift, because what I worked was a 7 to 11 a.m., then 3 to 6, something like that. And so one day I came off from a split shift. A supervisor said something crazy to me, and hey, I called up to the clerk's desk, told her I wasn't feeling well, and I reported out for the next 2 weeks. So on April 30th, I went up. That was on a Sunday. I went up there to put in my resignation letter so they wouldn't have to call me. So it made it official May 1st of 2006. So that's what I was doing before I got into real estate, or when I started real estate, and how long I had an actual job before I went full time. So I basically been full time. It'll be 14 years in May.
Wow. So those experiences, whether in college when you tried to start businesses, they failed. You went to the, your first job. You went to the cemetery. Those have all been invaluable. I bet. You had the customer service. You solve people's problems. I mean, we do that every day when we go out and meet with people and see a house. For me, it's not, like I tell the door knockers, it's not really about the house. Let's see what problems we can solve to help someone. So all that said, all that experience has led you here today, and I'm sure it's helped in what you do, Ty. How did you get on YouTube and like social? Because I'm fairly new, like I'm not that generation, but I'm learning that you got to be on there to be doing, scaling your business and doing more deals, and it's a game changer, really, and I'm adapting quite quickly. But how did you get into the whole YouTube? Because you've got a ton of great content out there, and anyone could watch it. And then I know you do some coaching and a lot of. What took you into that YouTube phase?
Well, I love the internet, man, and the power that it provides to level the playing field, no matter your gender, race, religion, where you are. It provides a more of a lot level playing field, or your background. And so when I was introduced to the internet, I know this is going to sound weird to people, or whatever, because a lot of youngsters around here, they don't know a world without the internet or whatever. Of course,
Right.
you and I probably do. And so, and back in either 90, I think it was in 98, the girl I was dating at the time, she had gotten a new job. Well, it was at Bell South, and she had gotten a job, and I wasn't there yet. And she told me, "Wow, they got this thing called the internet. Blah blah. You can just look up just anything. You know what I'm saying? It's like an encyclopedia online, but you can just literally reach people anywhere in the world."
Yeah.
So, anyways, ended up buying a desktop for her actually. And so I was just amazed and just hooked, man. So I bought one for myself, and I could just remember when I was in college, I used to have a PC class, and I thought that was the biggest waste of time ever. I'm like, I just couldn't believe why do we need this? I could just, man, it's amazing how time changes and your mindset changes on things. But so I spent a lot of time just researching and just things about internet marketing. Again, I still had never made any money from it though, or whatever. As much as I used to be engulfed in it, so fast forward to me still spending all this time on the internet and all of this stuff, and like, to add to that, to get to the point how I ended up on YouTube is whenever I quit the job at the cemetery, where I did sort of provide income for myself, and I only sold a couple of them, but I was really struggling. Is I started trying to sell websites. I had taught myself how to do it well enough where someone would pay for it. It still was garbage in reality when I think back, but it was well enough. But I knew more than most is the biggest thing. And so all of that stuff that even though I really wasn't good, I just understood it, right? Enough of it that the average person probably didn't at that time. So I don't even know how I discovered YouTube, right? And so when I saw that, and I just saw how people just would put out content about pretty much anything, and it was still really young. And so I attempted to put up videos in 2007. I don't know why I took that channel down. And so in August of 2008, I started a new channel. And I said, you know what, I've made a little money with real estate or whatever, enough where I think people will be interested in what I have to say. I had to get over my fear of being in front of a camera and all that stuff. So